Hello and welcome back to Remembering Tuscola webcast. I'm David Porter. I'm here with the shy Mike Carroll. So we'll try and get him to open up a little bit here today.
Well,
Yeah, try to talk some, will you?
you begged me enough to come on. I'll give it one shot.
And we've got Bill Englehart who has something to say today.
Yeah, now Bill's starting to take over the lead role here. He's got an outsized personality, and it's starting to come out.
Outside personnel.
Outside or outsized?
Outsized and outside.
David Brooks has a good book about that. Yesterday, and I know today is about remembering Tuscola, but yesterday I had the pleasure of going to Newman.
Oh, remembering Newman.
Remembering Newman. I went to the community center and met with Chuck and Glenna White, who have created this wonderful space of Newman memorabilia from the school.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you would love it.
It was in the News Gazette paper, talked about it.
Yeah, trophies, just all sorts of things that were there. School pictures from the walls, that were in the building of classes and everything. Glenna's class of 65, greatest class alive over in Newman.
No question.
No question about that. And we had a wonderful time in the museum. They gave me the grand tour. And for those Newman folks and anyone else who would like to see that, it's a great thing. It's really nice. They have a meeting room where you could have your little class reunion get together.
They still have a grade school, so that's
well.
Is it in the grade school?
No, this is a community center now.
In the community center.
This is the old grade school.
Well, you and I both know these old Newman guys. Chuck was a great guy.
Yeah.
We played basketball against him. My senior year, we won 22 games in a row. We're rated top 10 in the state. Last county game was over at Newman. And Donnie Akers threw a shot up from half court, hit the rimmer. They would have beat us. It was 52-51. They were tough hombres.
Oh, they beat me my senior year. Chuck kind of rubbing that in last night on a text message. But anyway,
they'll do that. But Newman, these small towns love their history. And I remember one of the saddest days was when my dad went to high school in Atwood, graduated in 39, played football. I went over to Atwood to see the final basketball game in the old gym, and saw my nephew's son, Chris, play. And they took all the trophies down off the wall and they had nowhere to put them. And they were throwing them away, giving them away. And I had Norm Willoughby was over there getting some of the stuff. And Norm Willoughby brought me over a couple of plaques where my cousin Bruce Carroll's dad, they had a scholarship for Doc Emil Carroll. And I got those and I took them up to Bruce and he was really proud, but they just gave their stuff away.
Yeah, well, this is a collection of school things and
so
rosters.
See, the point is they still have it.
They still have it, but they have it due in part to Chuck and Glenna and the efforts they put into this.
But nobody threw away these old photos. No one threw away the old trophies.
They kept those things and they put them in this little Hall of Fame. I'm just saying, David, that it was, people do remember these kind of things. And certainly pictures are a very important part of that too. So, but my congratulations to them. And then, hey, finally, Chuck bought me lunch.
Well, Chuck's a notorious miser. But he ran into the world's other big miser. And somebody had to pay.
So anyway, it was a good day, David, and thank you for letting me give a shout out to Newman. They put it together right.
Their lovely daughter teaches in Tuscola, married to
Angie Bergner.
Yeah, married to
wonderful teacher
Mike Bergner.
Yep,
lives out in Camargo. Sold them a lot out on the lake. Higgins and I.
So I saw the what's that?
We're coming back full circle to Tuscola, remembering Tuscola.
Yeah. I'm trying to find here. I did see I was in the school the other day and saw the improvements, and part of the improvements are they have put an emphasis on the trophy cases.
Well, that's nice.
So
Did
I
you ever
got-
get a peek back in the, did you ever get a peek back in the library?
I
I
haven't
mean-
seen the library lately, but
Not the library, in the cafeteria.
yes, I did. Let me just here, let me pause just a second. Okay, I found the pictures I was looking for. I was out there and just snapped a few pictures of some of the upgrades. Uh, there's the hallway. You can see one of the trophy cases back here. I can't see inside. They've got this nice long bench here and
What's that bench for?
for sitting on, Bill.
Well,
They could put trophy cases along that wall.
they could, there used to be trophy cases on that wall.
Yeah, that would be a good place. I sat on it. I saw other people sitting on it. You know, if you're at a game and come out to chat or I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it gets used. It's
Yeah, nothing like sitting on a bench for 2 hours and you want to walk out and sit on another one.
I said at the open house, that's where
Well, it's
Buck line you
cushion.
up and bring you in one at a time.
Well, it is cushion. I thought this material,
I
this
sat
cloth
there.
material, I think will wear well.
Oh, plastic.
Yeah, it's kind of a plastic leather-like seat, but this back is cloth and actually it's pretty comfortable. I sat on it for a bit.
I sat on it.
And then this is the cafeteria. This is the old industrial arts shop.
Are those TVs on the wall?
I believe so. So I don't know what they
Bucko didn't let us watch TV.
show. Well, I don't know what they've got on them, but then here's what made me think of it is some of the trophy cases. You can't really see from this angle. You can't really see inside of them. This wall's got a lot of the state tournament trophies, and Mr. Hornaday said he'd like to get pictures of the teams represented by all these trophies and put behind the pictures of the teams behind the trophy. So
It's got good ideas.
yeah. And they've got a lot of plaques in storage yet, and some of those may go up above the trophy cases. I don't know.
Well, that 1962 football all conference trophy, they better hurry up and get a team photo. There's about 6 of us left.
Well, I think they're looking for photos from that time period.
Oh, well,
I was going to suggest we try to run the hallways again.
Here, go ahead and talk. Speaking of that, I just found a photo yesterday. I was going to send to you, David.
Oh, good.
I can pause it.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
And we're back.
My freshman year in 1962, we won the regional, which doesn't sound like a big deal, except back
It
then
was a big deal.
there was only one system of schools and we always had to play Matt Toon. And for the first time in 27 years, we won the regional. There's 2 freshmen starting. I don't know, where can you see that?
I can see it. Yeah. Are you in that picture?
I'm the guy. Let me see. I'm bottom row right here.
Okay.
That's my freshman year. And then next to me is Bob Wyatt. And then there's Eddie Alexander holding the trophy. That's the uncle of our superintendent. And then there's the other freshman who started was Don Fortney. There was one senior on the team, Jim Manwaring, world's leading expert in water there.
Yeah.
And the back is Pete Green, Louis Leeds, Kenny Stroll, Marcus Bunning, and Clayton Harris. That's great. I thought it was a good picture.
It's a great picture.
I just saw that.
Well,
That
speaking
was
of
quite a
pictures,
feat.
we've got some good ones this week, and I got a few more of them than last week, so we probably ought to get at it.
Let's go.
Let's go get them.
I hope we know someone.
Yeah, that's Dave Porter,
Last time we got 95%.
96.3.
Yeah.
Well, if I can find them.
Well, it
Dave's
helps.
Dave's from the class of '83, one of the top 4 classes in the history of the school.
Let me make sure they're.
You lost him?
What?
Right now we're batting 100.
Yeah,
I
we've got,
did.
we've identified you.
Yeah, I know what happened when I took off the pictures from the that I
Oh,
showed earlier. It clicked off of my my other pictures. Anyway, a little technical difficulty, but we're back at it, and
We're moving.
now
We're
we've got
progressing.
them. So there's the first one.
Mrs. Kalmar, Mary
Mrs.
Kay,
Kalmar.
and Doc Smith, Mary
Mary
Smith,
Smith.
and Ringo Starr.
Look at the rings. Oh, you know who that is? That's Barb Wills.
Oh, it is. Look at the glasses. I thought
Mhm.
it was one of the Beatles.
That's Barb Wills.
One of the greatest women golfer in Douglas County.
Boy, she could play.
Looks like maybe the hospital bazaar.
Or women's club.
Women's club, maybe. 3 fine ladies. Oh,
Oh,
my
that's
goodness.
my senior year. All the homecoming queens.
David, you should forewarn him on these kind of pictures. His heart rate goes up.
I dated 1, 83, dated 4 of them.
One time.
One time,
Each.
all in one day. Just see, I just pushing my skill level. Top row, I'll go to the top row. That's
Okay.
Ann Curley, who actually was voted homecoming queen. Wish Dunn and Mary
Mary
Toomey.
Toomey. Bottom left, coming in, that's Sharon Rose,
Sharon-
Carol Schroet Pierce, and Ferguson Monahan, and that's Schultz.
Carolyn Schultz
Carolyn
Gretzloff.
Schultz, yeah.
Gretzloff lived up in Pasota.
Mhm. She lives in Pasota, doesn't she?
Yeah.
That's
There's
Doc Smith preaching.
Council member Doc Smith sat next to Jim Wood.
This must have been an important meeting.
Yeah.
It was.
It was about spending money.
Doc is upset about something, isn't he?
Well, he's preaching.
He was not, he would tell you the way he felt. I like Doc. He was a great council member.
I like Doc.
He voted against he voted against the mall. It was always 7-1, 7-1. You know, he always was the contrarian. So when the mall was successful and we had a big get together out there and a big photo, I said, Doc, how dare you be in the photo? He says, I'm the one that kept you guys honest.
Mm.
No, everybody liked Doc. You could have
These,
you could have a big dispute with Doc over something and still be good friends when it was over.
Michigan State.
Michigan State. He got his
Veterinarian degree.
vet degree up there. He and Vukolich, Bob Vukolich, were big Michigan State fans. The only 2 I know.
I
Tuscola.
point out these vintage Tuscola National Bank ashtrays. Anyway, quick Doc story. He was telling me. I remember him telling me about his kid was getting married, and married a Wyman, and I thought, well,
Jim Wyman.
That was Diane.
Yeah. So there's some Wymans on my dad's side of the family. I've got the Wyman family tree, and so I came home and looked it up, and I'll be darned, the person they were marrying was in my family tree.
There you go.
So that made me
You had the biggest family tree I've ever seen.
You know what? You need to go on that show, Finding Your Roots, on PBS.
Yeah, and find that you really aren't a Porter. You were born a Milligotti.
Yeah.
You know, you're Irish and you're not related to anybody.
I wasn't born, I was hatched.
Well, there's been talk of that.
By the way, this week's photos are sponsored by Elite Builders, so appreciate that.
The other thing about Doc Smith, by the way, was he was public-minded. He took on the county vet role. He was on the council for years, and small towns need their professional, educated people to get in public service. Bobby Stout. Bobby Stout.
Did Bob win a bicycle?
I don't know. That's
Aaron Maltby.
Aaron Maltby,
Yeah, that's
Dairy
Mrs.
Queen.
Maltby.
Dairy Queen.
Oh, geez. Who is it?
I don't know who that is on the right. I don't have any names.
I like those
on
bells.
other than the other.
Bell bottoms. He sure looks
What
familiar.
was Bobby, class of 61 or 2?
Two.
What?
I think it was Libby's class.
Yeah, I think so. 62. Bob and his dad Clarence would come on Saturday evenings to the candy kitchen, park uptown.
Very gentle soul.
The rest he was.
Well, that upper left on the back is my cousin, Betty Mansfield, the daughter of Dale and Margaret Carroll, married Orville Mansfield. And that's my Aunt Margaret. Bottom left is my Aunt Margaret. Wonderful, wonderful, dear soul. Ran the Atwood Cafe and the Huddle in Tuscola.
Talk
She
about
had
me being related to
No.
everybody, Mike.
Huh?
You talk about me being related to everybody.
Well, we just hit a couple here. These are Atwood girls. Atwood
And-
Garrett.
Yeah, and they seen him around.
Connor says Barb Cox, lower right corner.
Who? Barb
Chubb
Cox.
Connor says Barb Cox, lower right corner.
Who said that?
Chubb Connor.
Barb Cox lived out southwest of Arcola. If it's the same one I'm thinking of, her son was, I had in the 5th grade, Chuck. I mean, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, she was on the county board, wasn't she?
No, I don't believe so. She may have been, who knows? Long time.
These are Democrats. I think this is a Democrat Women's Association. Margaret and Dale were strong Democrats. When I ran for state attorney in '76, they put a sign in my yard, and they in their yard says, "We want you to know something." What's that? So first time ever we put a Democratic sign in or a Republican sign in, and we will never do it again. I said, "Okay." Yeah, these are Democrats.
These are Democrats.
There's there's a
Shear
Yeah.
is in the front left, Jim Kleiss in the middle.
middle rows, Raymond Wireman Sr. on the left, Mr. Kleiss,
Scott
Shear, and that's Ted Shear in the front
Les
left.
Dick,
Um,
Artie Moss. Is that Artie?
in the back, I don't know if that's Artie. It doesn't look. Artie is a Republican. That's Les
Yeah,
Dick in the
but
upper
that's
right hand
Les
corner.
Dick.
This was a Democratic conclave.
Pete Wireman.
Well, there's one of there's Weaver on the left, and on the right is one of the twins.
One of Stonecipher
Stonecipher
boys.
twins.
Yeah,
And
that
Larry looks like
Jim.
Larry Little in the back.
Larry Little's coaching
Yeah.
these boys.
Now that looks like second row on the right. Is that my cousin Tom McGuire?
I'm looking. What'd you say? Second row?
Is that Tom McGuire?
Kind of looks like him.
I don't know if that works. No, because Tom graduated before Stonecipher.
Well, Stonecipher there is a high school coach, so this is
Yeah,
the
but
early.
I'm saying Tom graduated in '69 and Stonecipher graduated in
Yeah,
'71
I
or
graduated
2.
in 71. You're
So I'm
right.
trying to think who these guys are.
Well, I'm trying to look for. That's Roger Harris, I believe.
Bottom row.
Yeah, third one to the left in the bottom row. Boy, the kid with his hand on the basketball looks familiar.
Well, if it's
Which one's Chris Little, though? The tall one in the back?
well, let me see what the comments say. Because I would think Roger Harris, if it's the one Roger Harris I know, he'd be too young to be in this picture. Jim Grimm says they're all class of 77 except for Robbie Windsor, standing second row, second from left.
Does he know the names of them?
Well, Marilyn Moody says, well, she mentioned the coaches here. I've got some names. Pam Reinhart says, I see Mike and Steve, Dave Dietrich, Phil Lewis, Tony Hausman, Mark Geiler, Gordy
Now,
Cross, Eric
go back.
Foster, Brian Atwell, Greg Weaver.
Well, Gordy Cross is probably third one from the left on the bottom.
That's who I thought was Roger.
And she sees Dave Dietrich there.
Well, she says,
Who go through those names a little slower?
She said, I see Mike and Steve.
Mike and Steve who?
Well, it's Connor, Dave
Oh.
Dietrich, Phil Lewis.
Wait a minute. Let's get Phil Lewis here.
So most of these would be my brother Pete's class.
Come on, we know these guys. Which one's Phil?
I don't know.
13?
I can't tell. If this is 70, these guys graduated in 77, yeah, and they're playing biddy ball. This has been about 6th, 7th grade. Jim Stonecipher helping.
Well, Stonecipher 71. This is that good
Yeah.
team with Dave, and they lost to Gibson City in the state playoffs, and probably the first year of the playoffs. Gibson City's quarterback was that guy that went and played Pro Bowl.
Christensen.
Jeff Christensen played for Cincinnati Bengals.
But Jim Grimm says maybe a traveling team, can't be biddy basketball. As this team is loaded and can't be a Hornets team, that they're not wearing Hornets jerseys.
Chiropractor Center.
Yeah, I thought maybe they're too old.
I'll tell you what, the Dave Dietrich's got to be the third from the right. That looks like Dave, 1, 2, 3, but he's not the tallest guy. Dave wound up being 6'4". That was right, Dave Dietrich right there, Dietrich, 1, 2, 3.
Yep, probably.
Third from the right.
John always says Kenny Whining standing second row far left, question mark.
I don't know.
And Daryl Rich says yes. So a lot of comments on the Facebook page. So all these photos are posted to the Remembering Tuscola Facebook group, so you can check out the comments there.
I'll let you have this one, Bill. I'll get the next one.
That's Mike saying, I don't know who these people are.
I think that's the Hugo City Council.
Oh, Kathy Rose says Cammie Seguin, second from the left.
That's true.
Kathy Clapper says Marcia Clapper, far right. Gail Boyce, second from the right.
Yell boys.
And Cammie Seguin says that's Bill Oswald, director of the extension. Must have been an extension event.
Cammie was the home extension person.
And Boyce, the Boyce has lived out on the
I had
Isdale Road, just on the edge of Champaign County.
I had one of the boys in school.
Yeah, they're girls.
Greg Boyce.
Oh, there's Fred. There's Mr.
That's the old Cybold florist.
That's sitting right. That's where Weatherford's. That's right behind Casey's.
Mm-hmm.
Flower shop and radio.
Well, Fred, the son, eventually put a radio shop in the back of it.
WITT.
Mm-hmm.
Which is my first foray into writing a radio program.
There's is that Ned Bakowitz on the left?
It's Ned Bakowitz. Yep. And oh geez, golly, that woman on the back right. This is Foster's.
Marilyn Foster, left
Marilyn
back row.
Foster, yeah.
Could be hospital something.
Yeah, David Kent Coy says seated in front, left to right, Ned Bakowitz, Pauline Cox from Hinesboro, standing left to right, Marilyn Foster, Mary Fauner, and Marie Salmon.
Yes, who became eventually Marie Cuppy.
So hospital.
Her husband had passed away and she married into the Cuppies. I knew her. That's
this is a Democratic initiation bloodletting ceremony.
Crowder. This is Chuck Crowder,
Chuck
bottom
Crowder.
right.
Is that Ruby Caldwell right behind
Wow,
him?
it kind of looks like Ruby, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think Ruby, this Eastern Star.
But that's Chuck Crowder.
I think Ruby's right behind him on the right. On the left, That's the old headboard from an old Victorian,
That's what it looks like, doesn't it?
that's an old Magnolia headboard I used to own. I wonder where that took off to.
Me too.
Bell, are you talking?
No,
That's,
I've got to read this.
it's funny, the Masons, for being a secret society, sure like to have their pictures taken. We see a lot of Mason pictures in our files.
You have to wait for a second. Bill's reading his phone. Now, if he was in my courtroom, he'd be in jail right now. Virgil Wyckoff,
Chuck Percy.
Chuck Percy, Marvin Jones, head of the Republican Party. The second in from the left is he's wearing a Ronald Reagan cowboy button. I don't know who the second one in from the left is.
I don't either.
Irvin Jurgens.
Irvin Jurgens from Arthur.
Arthur.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a Kaskaskia.
Chuck Percy was,
Looks like the fireplace.
yeah. Virgil Wyckoff was good to Douglas County. I'll let you have this one, Bill.
Huh. Thanks. Miniature lions.
Good Lord.
Well, Kelly Cronin asked Diane Kraus, "Is that Doug?" ? But that's all the help I've got on this one. But I like that their sign here on the wagon says they're miniature lions.
Yeah, so those are rare. Those are worth some money.
I think they're gerbils,
Probably.
hamsters.
That's the drive-in owners, Froman's Myrtle and
Monk.
Froman. Myrtle,
Montel.
Monty was the nicest guy in the world. He'd let you. Now, Mert would crack the whip. If you would go to the drive-in, and one of the tricks was to put about 3 people in the trunk of your car because they charged per head. And Mert would catch you. Also in the Strand Theater, Monk didn't care if you were delivering a baby in the back seat, but Mert would come back, and the minute you put your arm around this girl and nuzzled, Mert would put the flashlight on you.
Right.
Cut that out and say, Mert, don't you believe in love? They worked for Barber's, Mr. Barber. I think he ran the Strand for years.
There's the old speaker in the background there.
They had 2 kids. Their boy Monty was a good basketball player, 60, 61. And then their daughter, Mona.
Mm-hmm.
Mona Froman was probably
Yeah.
what, 67, 68,
I don't know.
69.
I've got one of those old speakers somewhere.
I do
You
too.
do?
I do too. I drove off with it one night. I woke up and realized it was dark and everybody's gone. I just took off and took the
You
speaker with
remember
me.
Buck Night?
Oh yeah,
You could get in for $1.
yeah.
Buck Night.
There's
Quite a crew.
that's a crew. You go
You'll
and
know
do
all
it.
these guys.
Yeah.
Bottom row left, on the far left, Phil Lamb, Rudy Huber, John Pangburn, and that's Gary Dowd. You're on.
Upper right is Roy Gould,
Jake.
Jake Groves, John Lehman, Steve
Hilgendorf.
Hilgendorf. I never can remember his name. Last guy.
Did he run some sort of
Mike
ran
Humphrey.
who?
Mike Humphrey.
Yeah, he ran something.
He ran some business.
I
So
ran
that-
something too. I ran out of town.
So is that Rotary or ABC?
I'm guessing ABC. Rudy Huber says ABC. These look like all ABC guys.
Oh, there's Heine Schultz from Bourbon.
Bourbon.
He was on the county board when I was state attorney. Just a wonderful, wonderful guy. Got killed on that crossing out there. You know, Bill, about west of town, a little bit south at Angle.
Mm-hmm.
He was on his way home.
Wearing a Reagan Bush.
Yeah, good Republican.
Dates
Good county board member, very fiscally responsible. Did what was best for the county. Closely watched the dollar. Well, that's
That's the old
that's Dunn's Drugstore.
Dunn's Drugstore on the bottom.
You know, it's on the south side of going over the tracks. It's now a little dedicated
Park.
ABC made a little park out of it.
Yeah, there's the old.
But that used to be called the
building.
Lamb Building
Because
after Richie Lamb's dad.
Rich Lamb in the back, you can't see it there, but all the way in the back, he had his
Plumbing and
sheet metal shop or whatever.
he was a graduate about 40, 41, 42. And the front of it was where Wish Dunn and what was her sister's name? Becky? Jane Dunn. Their dad ran a pharmacy, and it had a little counter, just like Mills
Just like
Drugstore.
Candy Kitchen.
Well, Mills had a
Mills
candy.
had a candy. They had a fountain.
They all
they?
had fountain drinks
Yeah.
and phosphates and shakes, and
Skinner and I would leave church
across the street.
and go across the street.
Do we have a photo of that?
Get something. Us leaving the church.
Do we have a photo of you in the church or Skinner?
No.
So that was a landmark.
to-
That's actually a landmark building with some great architectural
Boy, wasn't that something?
features. It would have been a great thing to save those buildings if you could.
Yeah, I hate to lose
Look at that.
a building like that. What
Yeah,
that-
you can't build that stuff back. You can't build those cupolas and those flashings, those copper flashings.
Well, of course, back when buildings like this were built, a lot of these architectural details were mass produced and brought in on a truck, and they're not mass produced anymore, so you wouldn't be able to reproduce them.
Well, they had craftsmen back then.
Yeah.
This is
God.
now we know the one in the middle.
We know well, that's Mrs. Easton. That's Ellery Easton's mother, isn't it? I think. On the far right. This gal here looks familiar too. She used to work at the Five and Dime.
I think she did.
God. You got anything?
Quilting Club.
Jackie Brookins says Ruth Caldwell on the left.
Okay, she did work at the Five and Dime, I believe.
Ruth was that Clyde's wife? I think it was.
And
Might-
Mrs. Easton, which would be Genevieve Easton.
Gonna be, yep.
And in the middle, Bernice Christine.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's Larry's mother.
Yeah.
Quilting at the library.
Used to be a lot of fun.
This is at East Prairie School, and in the background, all the way against the wall, that's Dave Goddard.
Dave Goddard, first baseman on our EI League baseball team.
Yeah.
These are your boys, Dave. Bill, can you name your boys?
No, these boys were in school there, and I imagine this is the opening in 1969. Or
Danny Matthews said Jerry Cox, fourth from the left. And Rudy Huber says Jim Mason and a Kibler. And let's see if I got any other comments on this one. Nope.
Dave Goddard wound up being a principal somewhere, didn't he?
well, he was principal down by Springfield, but then he Gerard, I believe, and then he came up to Atwood where he retired. He passed away not that long ago,
On the right is Fred Ross.
right?
On the left, not sure. Oh, Chuck Talbot? No, I don't think it.
No,
Todd
That's-
Bosch says the one on the left is Dick Anderson.
don't know him.
He was a plant manager at the time.
At Cabot.
Yeah.
Fred's a great guy. Thought a lot of Fred. That's Sally Foote on the right.
I don't think so. Is that
Kind of looked like her when she was
is that the
younger.
Hausman boy,
I don't know.
Tony? I don't
Help,
know.
help.
Help.
You know, I don't have any names on this one.
There's a reason.
What's that?
Yeah.
say?
I can't really read it.
Something, no,
No.
can't read it.
Agricultural Merit Scholarship.
Yeah.
Well, good.
That's Mike Klein on the left. Used to be Hannum, Waggle, and Klein was city
Lou
engineer.
Rhodes is next.
Lou Rhodes. Then there's our politician,
Terry
Bruce.
Bruce.
Terry Bruce from down the Olney. There's Danny Kleiss. There's the Red Baron.
Bob Hastings.
Bob Hastings. Slide over a little bit. I gotta see if I can.
Alan Gilmore.
Ace Gilmore.
Ace Gilmore, our city. That was for the grand opening of Northrop King back in the early 90s.
That's a great picture. That's someone walking through a flood.
Well, that's back when kids walked to school. That's snow. Is that snow or water? That's snow.
Must be snow.
Carrie Pickens says that's her, but she's trying to figure on the right, trying to figure out who she.
Back then,
Yes.
we'd walk through snow, and then if you go back when Bill and I were young, we actually rode horses to school.
We had to walk uphill both ways. Couple snow pictures here. I don't know who any of them are.
Well, we know some
Weimers.
of these folks.
That's that great basketball team from 80, what was it, 88?
Yeah, we've got the Weimers in the background. We've got
Penrod.
Dave and Kathy Penrod. We've got
Right.
Weimer Washburn and Coach Kerry Kincaid. Oh, this is a signing for Eureka. For them to go play ball at Eureka.
Was this 88, you think?
It
87?
was after the state tournament, yeah.
And Kyle Mills says the one in the middle in the back is Dave Darnell.
Oh, the head coach at Eureka.
Right.
Well, I got a question about Eureka. What in the world is that mascot?
Red Devils.
Tasmanian Chinese
I think it's
Satan?
It's the Red Devils, I believe.
That might be the worst mascot I've ever seen. There's Doc Smith again.
Boy, Doc hated to give up the money.
He did. He's about ready to cry. Jerry Reynolds, I don't know who's getting the check or giving the check on the left.
Yeah, neither. Back when the school kids would paint windows downtown for various occasions.
Well, this individual was bored.
Yeah, he was using a tiny brush.
I think that's Tom Bricker, who was a year older than me.
There's the Moon Man.
Mooney and Hensley.
Take it in stride, the old traditional flood on Route 36.
Yeah.
They had a good attitude. They sold a lot of cars that day.
Yeah. Man, that's a great picture.
That is.
Open for business.
Oh,
Open for business.
Old Moon Man would never pass up a car deal.
Oh man, that's Gary Foltz
That's Gary
and
Foltz.
Marnie.
Gary and Marnie Foltz. Back when they sang as a rock duo, Chad and Maury.
I talked to Gary and Marnie the other day out at the store. Yeah, Gary's got his locks there. He graduated in 71.
That was the hairstyle, wasn't it?
Their grandson, boy, he's created quite a firestorm. He's going to run down to Carbondale.
I hope he gets
cross country.
Good for him.
Well, our files are full of old engagement and wedding photos. I hate to put them in sometimes because you never know who's still together and who's not.
I do too.
It was a fact. It was a fact.
Gary was my next door neighbor growing up, so
yeah, right there on the corner in that. He was on the southwest corner of that intersection. You were
Parker in Ohio.
You were just south of him.
Good folks, Gary and Marnie.
More painting, and I don't have any names, but the one on the right with his arm up kind of looks like Mark Smalling to me. And this may be Jim Clarkson on the ladder. I don't know who's in the cowboy hat. And I'm not sure that I'm right on those, but that would be the general era since the other one was a year older than me. It makes sense that these might be some of my class. Just hard to tell from the profile.
That's Radar Roy Bonner, Tuscola police officer, wonderful guy. When I was state's attorney, I always enjoy Radar calling me about 3 a.m. and wanting to know if he filed the right charges on somebody. I said, Roy, you know, you could wait till tomorrow and come see me.
I don't know who the kid is.
Well, he's arresting him. He's a 6-year-old boy. He's taking him in for
So he's putting on a bulletproof vest or something.
vest. Yeah. Well, that is.
You know what? That's that picture from the across from the South Ward, that store, the little candy store.
Well, we knew.
See down here, because it was 1-cent candy.
Yeah, who?
But I don't know who owned that. It's next to Maxine Stevens' house. That's what you know, where Shaky Lee had his barber shop.
Well, Mr. Lee had it for a while, and who's the guy who had it before that? This is Southward kids would run over there and load up on sugar.
You could buy a K Woody pipe in there.
Yeah. That's what you smoked for a long time, wasn't it?
Well,
Briar, you know, you had a
something like
Briar, you had a Briar
Yeah,
from
briar
Missouri,
pipe.
from Missouri.
Yeah, and I had the name on the back of the picture, but I didn't bring it with me because I thought you guys would know it.
Well, remember Mr. Lee.
No, this picture here is from the 40s, I think.
I was going to say,
Late 40s.
I was going to say 50s, 40s or 50s.
Well, it might have been early 50s. And I've heard about this guy. He ran that little store.
Yep.
Well, here we get one of these big family deals. Let's see if we get lucky and get one of them.
Yeah, I don't have any names on this one.
No.
Oh God, that's Becky Hedinger Leeds. Becky is passed now. She's was my secretary at East Prairie. Of course, we've known Becky since she was a little girl.
She grew up with all those rough boys.
Yeah.
3 brothers.
3 brothers.
Okay, on
She
the
did have a
left,
sister.
on the left is Eddie Alexander in the 8th grade.
And on the far right is John Bell.
John O. Bell from Indiana.
And Wild Bill in the middle.
Wild Bill.
Look at that. They got those screens back there.
That's the
over
Bill
in
Englehart screens.
Yeah.
When I was 12 years old in Little League, we had the Little League championship clinched. Our last game was Bob Hastings Indians. And he brought in John Bell from Indiana to pitch. He was 14.
Oh man.
He was a year or 2 years older.
Boy,
6 foot tall.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't see the ball. He was 12. He was 12 feet away, and the ball was by you.
Yeah.
So
Hastings could have win the tournament.
Bob won, but then we protested, and it was overturned. But Bob made his point.
I wonder what
For those listening who might not know, that's Bill Burris in the middle.
Well, that's what, Ingo said. That was Burris.
You said no. You guys said Wild Bill, and I
Oh,
thought,
Bill.
Oh,
you
well, everybody knows who Wild Bill is.
might not know who Wild Bill is.
Well, if you don't know who Wild Bill is, you shouldn't be
Wild
watching
Bill.
this program.
Bill's one of our favorites.
Bill,
and
we both played golf with him. We
Well,
played.
he was my
basketball.
driver's ed teacher, but I didn't know him as Wild Bill.
Well, you had
we
to play-
called him names.
We call him Yo-Yo on the golf course. Bill would he would miss 3 or 4 putts and rim out, and he would drop to his knees and cry and say, "I don't have any luck." And then he'd make a long putt and he'd jump up and down and run off the course. You know, we called him Yo-Yo. He was a basketball coach the same way.
Yeah.
Bill wore his emotions on his sleeve. Is that Rudy
Thought the
Kalmar?
world of him.
Yeah, Bill's wonderful. Rudy Kalmar.
Possibly. But don't know who that fellow is with him.
Well, that's the Lions, I'm guessing.
Oh, it is. It's got the
Oh, I didn't see that.
table setting.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be Rudy. Possibly.
Engineer out the plant. Well, that's a good family photo.
God dang.
Is that's
That's Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, isn't it?
I was going to say Wetzel, but you think it's Wilson?
They're both wrong.
Oh,
Thank you.
Give us the initials.
Well, I'll give you a hint. These are some relatives of mine.
Oh, geez.
Oh, they're Dallases. That's Alberta Dallas on the right, and that's Seth on the
That's
left.
Seth Dallas, yeah.
Seth and Alberta Dallas from donut shop fame.
Yeah, my dad, Seth was one of my dad's best friends. He'd go down to St. Louis and help get Dixie cream donut flour and mixtures for him with Seth.
Couldn't ask for a kinder soul than
Hardworking,
Alberta.
hardworking.
Seth
Hard
would
work
have been,
after Seth passed just as soon as they opened the donut shop. He
Hard-
was gone.
Her kids helped her out.
Seth was my mother's cousin.
Wonderful guy, wonderful
I'm
couple.
looking.
Okay, there we have the basketball, my
Manager.
freshman year, when we won that regional I just talked to you about. Those are the basketball managers. David Gardner on the left, Robert Perrin and John Tice.
Mhm.
Wonderful guys. John's over in Indiana. Bob Perrin's over in Atwood, I think, isn't he?
I believe so.
I haven't seen him in a long time, but someone say he lives in Atwood. I've lost track of.
Didn't he used to comment on the podcast, the original
Yeah.
podcast we did?
Yeah, Richard Gardner was my class. That was his older brother, David.
Dave. Yeah.
John had a sister, Willa Mae. They're plant people. Came for USI, lived at Southland Acres.
Mm.
Hmm.
You're gonna have to help us, David. I'm not gonna embarrass myself anymore. Sometimes people.
Eric Alexander says that's Edna Courts and Ea Shorty Wetzel.
Shorty Wetzel.
Boy, those are good pictures. I wonder who took those.
Pettits. These are Pettit photos.
I see.
He was professional.
And a lot of comments on that photo.
I bet.
Well, now we're back in 19.
Bill Alexander,
This
61.
This is the class of 61, I think. On the left is, I think that's a Wilson, Artie Wilson.
Bill Alexander.
Bill Alexander, that's Ed's brother and our superintendent's uncle. That is, oh, I know who it is, but
I know.
let's skip. We'll get back to him. Then Bill Wolverton, Jim Fortney, Edsweiler,
Red Edsweiler.
Big Red, and slide it down because I'm in the way again here. Oh, that's Wendy Ron.
Mm-hmm.
And go back to the left. The guy we're missing here is, come on, we know him.
Is it a Chapman?
No,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
yeah, I know.
Help.
Well, this is another relative of mine.
Oh, geez. Were you at the wedding?
I was at the wedding. This is and that's why I put this in, because I remember being at this wedding.
Were you the cantor?
That's my cousin Mike Bowles and his first wife, Lynn. And this is
you
one of
sang-
those where
Oh,
I know they're not still together, but it's just a typical 70s
yeah.
wedding dress. But I was probably 5 or 6 years old, but I remember being at that wedding.
Well, I heard you sang Ave Maria during the
Uh-huh.
during the key part, even though you weren't asked to.
The reason I remember it is because
Yeah.
when they had their vows,
Help, Beck.
Mike knelt down and his groomsmen had written something in shoe polish on the bottom of his shoes, which the audience could then see, but he didn't know about. I don't remember what it said, but that's why it stuck in my memory, because everybody was laughing.
Remember to take your shoes off, it said. Bill, you can have these here. There's Mike out. That's my class again.
Yeah, but you know what this is? That's a Wax down there. That's Richard Wax on
Yeah.
the bottom left,
yeah.
sitting at the table.
Well, the fourth one, the third one standing is Mike Allen,
And then, is that Obrick?
Denny Obrick.
But these other boys are from another
Is
town.
that Denny Stewart on the far right?
No.
Okay. Okay.
God, that looks like Suzanne's Frere, doesn't it? In a way. I mean,
Yeah.
But you know who it is.
I do.
Allen,
Oh, yeah.
Ginger.
Look at that face. You know who that is.
Ginger Allen.
That's D. Lindsay.
Oh, is that D?
Sorry, I didn't know who that was. I can tell.
Well, that's D. Lindsay.
That's D. Lindsay. D. Edelman.
Was this her wedding down in Florida?
I think I don't know where it was, but probably when she married John Wilson, who's passed, of course. But
Yeah, married down in Florida.
Dyke Edelman was her dad, and as you know, and famous athlete from Centralia.
Mm-hmm. Dee's a pretty young woman there.
Yep.
She's a very nice lady, very sweet gal.
There's Marion Ponder in the back.
Yeah. Marion didn't like to substitute teach. That's Blanche Cheval on the far right, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Blanche
No,
Flume.
that is cool. Go ahead.
Said Blanche Flume.
Oh,
Same thing.
okay.
Same.
Her husband, he ran the gamble
Ed
store.
Cheval
And
died.
he passed away, and she married.
Wibb.
Mm-hmm.
Nice lady.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we have on the left a Benner. Which Benner is that?
No, that's a Burr.
Burr,
That's
Ernie Burr.
Ernie Burr.
Ernie Burr.
Or is it? No, it's Ralph.
Well,
It's Ernie. It's Ernie Burr's brother.
okay, then we have Richard Bean. Then we have Jim Weber, Marcus Bunning,
Bobby Wetzel,
Bobby Wessel, Willis Yoder,
Willie Yoder, Jim Manwaring,
Jim Manwaring,
Jim Rice.
Jim Rice, and who's the last guy here? I'll try and get rid of this. We can't see this last one. That's Clifford Clouser.
Cliff Clouser
Now,
just passed away. How many of those guys are gone?
Well, let's go through here. Jim Manwaring and
Bob Wetzel.
Bob Wessler in
Marcus.
the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Marcus Bunning should be in the Hall of Fame, except he worked for the federal government, the Sandia Research Lab, Alamosa, and he can't let his secrets get out.
Dick Beans in Tuscola.
Let's see who's still here. Richard Bean is still here. Willie Yoder passed away. I've lost track of, well, you should know where Rice is.
Rice is in, was he in California?
He was in Hawaii for a long time.
Well, he's around.
He
He's
had
alive. Cliff Clouser just passed away.
his Jim Rice's sister, Kathy, was in my class, just a wonderful gal. And then one of your favorites was his brother in your class.
Gordon.
Gordo.
Was in my class. Gordo, the stroke man.
Gordo Rice. Sweet guy.
Great stories. Gordo, great memories.
That was class of 62.
Mm.
I don't have any names, but the picture said it was Tuscola Township having some sort of dinner.
Looks like Sonny Kleiss on the left, but I don't know if that's Sonny or not.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell.
Christmas Bazaar.
Hmm.
There's Mrs. Lineberger on the left. These are teachers. On the left is Dorothy Lineberger.
Far right is Wilma Allen.
And the middle, we should know her. Oh, gosh.
Can't tell you.
Yeah, that's all the names. That's all the help I had.
That's not Nicely's wife, is it?
No, Nicely's wife was, I would recognize her. Where are we here?
Margo.
Oh, this is Fabrionics.
Yep.
Wow.
Made
Owned by Bob Gray.
life jackets and float pads.
Yeah, they had a heck of a business. And Bob's son lives here in the golf course. His dad, older Bob, I did the legal work for him. EPA came in and basically put a requirement for cost him millions of dollars, and he just moved his plant down to Nogales, Texas, across the border. He showed him. There's Paul McCullum in the back right, second row.
Yeah.
Steve Leonard on the right.
Yeah, far right, Steve Leonard.
Mark Kleiss.
This is Carlos, Mark Kleiss.
Second from left.
Danny Matthews says Bruce Ron, long hair, second from right, between Jim Mason and Steve Leonard.
Is that Ace Gilmore?
No, I don't
That's
know.
what Jane Mason Jones says. Butch Moody, Alan Gilmore, Mark Kleiss, Mark Waters, Jim
Yeah.
Mason, Paul McCollum, Bruce Ron, Steve Leonard.
Yeah, it looks like Ace.
4-H pork chop dinner at the community building about
I'll be darned.
1965. Well, I didn't recognize Alan, but
He's got a smile, and that's about his age group.
this is a little before my time,
Yeah.
considering I was born in December of 64, so I wasn't very old when this picture was taken.
Jeez.
Well, there's my headboard again.
Yeah.
Is that Bruce?
My
I'm
Victor-
guessing Demolay. That looks like Bruce Wood to me.
It looks like Bruce Wood to
Boy, it
me,
does. Was he a demo layer?
They probably.
but I don't recognize the two ladies.
Mm-mm.
Well, they look familiar, but I couldn't tell you.
Oh, that's my class. Let's see
Yeah.
let's see who's in here. Let me get rid of the photo here.
So you snuggled right up against Nola.
Am I there? Oh, I
Yeah.
am there.
Oh, yeah, you're in the back row.
Okay, you do the back row.
Back row, Don Fortney, Mike Carroll, Nola DeWinsing. Damn, she was a pretty girl.
Wasn't she beautiful?
Dave Lecker, Joyce Thomas, Jim Wright, the Stinson,
Sandy's.
and Sandy Stinson, and my old bud, Roy Ziegler.
Mhm.
No, my old neighbor. Go ahead.
Second row, left to right, Mike Allen, Larry Cromwell, Brenda Cook, Gary Teak, Linda
Miller.
There's Thompson.
Oh, God.
Ron, her dad, Ron, ran the filling station. Ronnie Wynn just had open heart surgery, back home doing well. There's Kathy Rice we talked about, and Max Albritton.
Britton. Go ahead. You can do them.
There's Rick Gibson, Hoot. There's
Hoot.
Angela Black, Doug Carnine, nation's preeminent educational psychologist. Janice Allen, she was a brain in our class. There's Dick Gardner,
Mm-hmm.
Richard, Dave's younger brother. Nancy Norton, who used to teach at Princeton, another brain in the class.
Chuck Disher.
Chuck Disher and Johnny Edmonston.
Geez, Christmas. That's a great picture. I've never seen that picture before.
I've never seen that picture before. I think I had a little bit of hair up there, didn't I?
It looked either that or just the background of the bleachers.
Look at all the teeth.
Could you have recognized me, David, or not?
No, I did not recognize you.
He was, well, I hate to say this.
Well, say it.
He was a pretty good looking guy.
I was.
Yeah.
And then I got lost in the double ugly forest one time wandering through. I got French kissed by a Mack
Hey.
truck.
I want to tell you, now I have to compliment that picture. I want to tell you, buddy, there were a lot of smart people in that
Oh,
picture.
man, oh, man. I mean, I'm the front row,
God.
Norton and Janice Allen and Carnine. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, there's some
Brilliant,
smart
brilliant
people in that
people.
picture. Overall, back row too.
The dumbest guy in our class was a genius.
That's about the truth. Seemed like.
Okay, it's like Jarman.
Man, that blonde there looks familiar. I don't.
She does.
Nope, can't help you.
Well, we got a lot of names. I'm not sure they're got all of them are in order. Grace Kepper, head nurse, front question mark. Back left, Marie Williams. Aide question mark, Peggy Clark. RN, Grace Kepper, RN, Margie Scott, aide, Ann Brewer, RN. And so actually a lot of comments.
I think Peggy Clark was where the babies are born. She was in charge. She's Marcola gal. She was in charge of that, I think. What? If you say so. NICU. The peanut gallery yelled out NICU. There's Alan Michener on the left. They held Alan back for about 10 years in high school. Next thing I'm not sure, that's Gary Hinby up on the roof, Jimmy Kleiss. This is like class of 69. Not sure, Bobby Taylor. And what's his name from?
The bank.
The bank.
Oh. God, they're working at Gus's.
They're at Gus's.
Is that Pendergrass?
That could be the young John Pendergrass. Second from left. And of course, Gary Hinby was married to, at one time, to Ann Flesser.
Flesser. God, I forgot that.
Yeah. And Jimmy, of course, was everywhere.
Well, let's see. Did you get the second from the right?
Bob Taylor, second.
That's Bob
right.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Booby Taylor.
Who'd they say was far right? He was a
McMillan. Dennis McMillan.
Dennis McMillan. There you go.
Dennis McMillan, and I liked him, but he was a typical banker. I remember that house I bought, Ed Bailey's house when I came back from the Army. I'm out in the yard pulling weeds, and Dennis pulls up and goes, "Hey, guy, how's it going?" He says, "Let's do lunch someday." And I'm starting to say, "How about next Friday?" And he's driving away. He didn't wait to get my date.
Typical banker.
Typical banker. Hey, let's do lunch someday.
Hey, let's do lunch.
Oh, that's Mr. Ashwell, Lloyd Ashwell.
Help yourself to the pancakes.
That was dedication of the Prairie Playgrounds. And there's Doug on the left is Baird.
Yeah, it's John Baird. Then we've got
who's the gal? I know the gal.
Yeah, that's Jim's wife.
Jim Baird.
Yeah.
Jim Baird's wife. And then we have Dave Bozarth, looks like in the back. Then Doug McCumber. Susie Oakes.
Right.
Or no.
There's Susie.
There's Susie Oakes.
Because Greg's over here holding his hands in front of him. Bozarth.
There's Mrs. Kellogg.
Mrs. Kellogg.
I can't quite tell a guy in there.
Can't tell who the tall guy is.
That's Bill McCarty, isn't it?
Well, we can't tell. He's hidden. And that's Greg Oakes.
That's Greg Oakes.
Talking to Mr. Rader.
Reverend Rader.
Must be having a dedication of some sort.
Yeah, I think that's Bill in the back.
Well, those are a lot of T&B people right there. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
Susie worked there.
They all worked.
Doug worked there. Bozarth's wife worked there. Oh, there's upper left. This is a great shot. Upper left is Sharon Rose Cappy. This is way back. She went to nurses school, wound up ending her career at Carl. She might have been head of nursing, I'm not sure. And then down on the bottom row, third from the left, is Althea Deaver, Doc Deaver's widow.
Boy, it sure looks like Guess Who, Maureen, Jiminy.
Yeah.
Susie Bowles Kingery says Dorothy Geiler, third from left, seated.
Oh, is that? Oh, I got it wrong then.
Well, that's what.
Dorothy Geiler too. Looks like Althea.
Geez, from my perspective, it looks like Althea.
Well, they must be related and don't know it.
Well, could be wrong too. I don't know.
Well, it looks like Dorothy Geiler also. Okay, here we go. This is class of about 60, 61. There's Gayla on the bottom right. Bottom right, second one in is Gayla Grubb Ross, and right on her shoulder, and the second row is Ann Olson, I believe. And then we go up a little bit and we see third one in from the right, top row is the oldest right girl. What was her name? There was Janet, Judy, and
I can't tell you.
I
know of her.
Becky? Who's the oldest right girl? Janet Wright's oldest sister. Jane Ann Wright.
Jane Ann Wright. Now, I know these two guys,
Yeah.
but I can't put their names to
And that
them.
looks like, is that Judy Bean?
Judy Stevenson Bean.
Third one from the left, second row is Judy Stevenson, married Ron Bean, I believe.
Now, Shauna Boss says Judy Randolph Bean.
Judy Randolph Bean. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's her
Randolph,
mom. That's her
not
mom.
Stevenson.
And
Oh, wait, that's,
couple people-
wait, the middle, you got the back row in the middle all by herself is Harris. That's Clayton and Tom Harris's sister.
Mm-hmm.
What was her name? First name?
Can't think of it.
and a couple people have said their Uncle Charles Harris.
Oh, that's a big guy on the back left.
Charlie Harris.
Yeah. Anyone to get the boy on the bottom left? Because I know him.
We shot some pool with
This
him.
looks like a campus.
Yeah, it does look a campus.
Yeah, I'm not.
The guy on the bottom left, we took some quarters off him shooting snooker. We should know this guy down here too on the right.
Yeah, that's about all the
Yeah.
names I've got. I've got quite a few comments on this picture.
Yeah, this is about 60, I would say.
I don't have any
Well,
help.
that's Mr.
Marlar.
Marlar in the middle.
Third one from the left.
Clyde Fullerton on the right. Clark Fullerton
Clark Fullerton.
on the right.
Is that county board or what do you think that is?
Well,
Mason?
I don't recognize them as county board
No.
members.
Yeah.
I don't recognize.
They could be assessors. They could be on the assessment board. They could be on all
Yeah.
kinds of boards.
Yeah, who
That's-
knows?
Well, that looks like that's Sloan and Hubert Sloan grand opening. Down the bottom's Larry Little on the left and Paige Harris
Paige
on the
Harris
right.
on the right.
And then right behind the guy sitting down is Floyd Grubb, who worked out there, I think. And then on the far
And
right,
Floyd's in the white shirt.
Floyd's in
yeah.
the white shirt with glasses, right behind the guy sitting down. And then upper right is Bill Huber.
That's Monty Wilson, isn't it?
Third from right,
Third from the right. Looks like Monty Wilson.
Huber and Sloan. All those guys worked out there, or were owners or associated.
This is Gene Reinhardt, isn't it?
Yeah, let me see. On the
On the
right,
far right. Yeah, maybe not. I can't tell.
Travis Dobbs says Leroy Van Dyke played the annual store party at Huber and Sloan.
That's back up there, the guy with the black hair.
That's sang the song Auctioneer.
who's the guy with the glove? Looks like Michael Jackson's technique.
And Paige Harris also kneeling on right.
Yeah,
We got him.
Paige and Larry, we got kneeling down.
Rudy Huber says probably 1966 after our equipment auction, Leroy took delivery of new 112 mower with hydraulic lift. Larry Little, John Malhoit, mom's father, who had first auctioneer Assumption in 1930.
Yeah, he's from Assumption.
Paige Harris second, Harley Thomas, Skylar Elmore, Bob Christine. Yeah, I gotta click on the Bernice Swihart, Pete Utzi, Floyd Grubb,
Take a break.
Floyd Kleiss, Bob Rinchler, question mark, Paul Kleiss, Monty Wilson, Ken Nichols, Gene Reinhardt, auctioneers, Chuck Gorel, Hicksville, Ohio, L. Dale Hanna, York, Nebraska, Leroy Van Dyke, Nashville, Tennessee, and Bill Huber.
Yeah. Got some of them right. Monty Wilson and Gene Reinhardt,
So
plus others.
a lot of comments. Of course, all the Hubers are
Commenting.
active participants on this site, so we get a lot of comments. But yeah, it's a great picture. I love that picture.
Yeah.
Of course, I always liked Bill. $1 Million Smile, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. He always had a big smile. He had a big smile. Hang on a second. We're taking a little break.
Okay.
Good.
All right, we were on to the next picture.
I'm still lost in my high school senior photo.
Yeah. Oh, it was good, wasn't it?
Good photo.
It was good.
It's Helen Lee.
That's Helen Lee on the right. And God, that woman looks familiar.
Yeah, I don't know what the outfit is with the carrying the
Catwoman.
clay.
Catwoman.
Yeah,
Didn't we see this last week?
Yeah.
well, could have been. I mean, we saw WA last week, but some of these could be repeated.
Gene Miller on the far right. That's Mrs. Romine. Then Frida Morris. W.A. Bozarth.
WA.
These are all county officials, I think. Gene was either the sheriff or the treasurer. They used to flip back and forth. Frida was our county clerk. WA was the county superintendent of schools. Miss Romine, what was she? She was some county official. That's the county board. That's in the courthouse there.
Looks like they're taking maybe the oath of office.
Those are what you call the good old days.
Well, I've seen that one before. And that is Ruby Caldwell, I think, in the upper
Oh, we
right.
did see this one before, didn't we?
Charlie Crowder and Mrs. Caldwell on the right.
I wonder if Joe's out there in that snowstorm in Colorado.
He probably is. 10 foot of snow. Well, that.
I've got the feeling that the lady in the wheelchair, is that like her daughter behind her? I mean, that could be. Who knows? You got anything on this?
I do. Eric Rodmaker says, Howard Cooper, top left, his grandfather. Francis Brown, owner of Brown's Fine Shoes uptown Champaign, and his great aunt. Paris Leslie Cooper, the second, owner of Cooper Motels, Tuscola, his great uncle. Seated is Anna Cooper, his great grandmother, rural Tuscola Posodum school teacher. She lived to be 103 years old.
Well, Paris, I worked when I was a senior at Eastern, I worked the midnight till 8 o'clock shift at Cooper Motel for he and his wife. They lived across the street where his son has an auto dealership now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Howard, I think Howard was Ronnie Cooper's dad.
Cooper's dad.
They lived in the house that Geilers lived in between the old Methodist church and Chris Hill, or the Van Voorhis house. That's
across from high school.
Across the North Ward to the south. And Howard, they either both or one of them was in airplanes out at the airport, really big. There's Jarman again.
Another Jarman picture.
The gal there looks awfully familiar.
Looks like the kitchen staff. I mean, the kitchen staff at the hospital.
Any names on that?
Well, Nancy Blackert says, tag Rita Shaw Herman says, your mom, when I worked with her at Jarman on the evening shift, I'm on the far right. So that would be Nancy Blackert on the far right. And Janice Moody says, spotted her immediately. Connie Ingram Wills next to her. Rita Shaw Herman says, Anna Bontrager next to Nancy. Christine Junkins says, front row, Dorothy Shaw, ? Back row, Joe Derby, Carol Welch, Carol Lowe, Anna Bontrager, Connie Wills, and Nancy Blackert.
Well, I see Connie Wills now that
Yeah, I see Connie Wills.
She was an Ingram, wasn't she? Connie Ingram?
Yeah.
Nancy Blackert says Mike Salheimer is the gentleman. So a lot of comments on that picture.
Old Jarman. Oh boy. Oh my God.
This is two brothers.
That's two brothers.
They really thought a lot of one another.
Oh man, they did battle to be Kaskaskia Club Championship. They did many years, young Steve Schrader and then Mr. Timmons.
Jack Timmons.
And the old guys like to just play with Steve's mind. I mean, one time he and Jack were playing off for the finals, and they announced they're going to start on number 7.
Yeah.
And just to get Steve shook up. Steve was a whale of a golfer, and I can say this: he actually could sometimes beat Bill and I.
Almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
When he really bore down,
Well, we kind of let him.
we
a
let
little
him win
bit.
once in a
Yeah,
while.
He's a nice guy.
Boy, he was
Look
a
at him. He's got the ball in his hand. He's ready to start. He doesn't want any part of this picture. Get me out of here. I don't want to stand next to him.
Jack Timmons worked for the
Gas
company. He would drive a ball about 5 feet off the ground, right down the middle. He'd roll for 220 yards. He'd hit a low wedge up in the middle of the green and putt like a demon. Always shot around par. His buddy, his golfing buddy, Bucko, played a lot of golf with Jack
Bucko
Timmons.
played. They got a fight in the locker room one day.
Yeah,
Oh man,
that's good old days.
I played against Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve and I tried out for the Eastern golf team together. Didn't work out.
Boy, old Steve's got a nice hairdo there. He looks pretty good. He looks real
handsome
good.
guy. His dad was a whale of a guy.
We
We both played golf with his dad.
Actually, Jack Timmons had been an outstanding athlete track, I believe, at Mattoon High School.
Mm-hmm.
And he practiced his chipping, but he was deadly with the putter.
Deadly with the putter, but he never hit a ball more than about 200 yards.
No.
Always right down the middle, real low runners.
I knew you guys would know that picture.
We knew it.
Steve was in high school. We all loved Steve because he had a GTO. He had a goat.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yeah, he did. I was with him the
Rocket
night he
ship.
shelled it. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a rocket ship.
Yeah. He tore it up. He didn't know how to handle good machinery. Steve married another guy we really love is Doug Dunnigan, great basketball player and athlete from Arcola. He married
Connie.
his sister Connie. They had a couple of girls. Steve's a real pillar and
still a good golfer.
Still a really good golfer.
Amazing.
Well, here's the thing most people don't know about Steve. Steve actually took vacations in South Africa, became a good friend with Nicky Price, pro golfer, and he got to be who won the Masters?
Charles Schwartzel.
Charles Schwartzel from South Africa won the Masters, and Steve was down there living in the cabin with his parents in one of those Eisenhower cabins, wasn't it?
I don't know. He was down there.
Close friends to all these South African golfers. And Steve he played golf with who was the great teacher? Ledbetter. Who was the famous golf instructor? Steve got to play golf with him, big skinny guy back 20 years ago.
Probably Ledbetter.
Ledbetter. Yeah, Steve got all this valuable instruction, rubbed elbows with pros, and Bill and I would still take him out there and just beat him like a drum. Tell Steve we said that. See what he says.
I hope he hears it.
All right. Well, that's it for this week's photos.
Well, David, it was good. These were good photos.
These were good
We
photos,
enjoyed
and
them.
you ran the gamut and did a good job once again. And hope people appreciate what you're doing. I'm glad you got some.
Oh, I think they do.
Glad you got some sponsors that appreciate what you're doing for
Did
Tuscola.
you said you had one. Did you give the other one Premier Builders and
Elite Builders is this week's sponsors.
Or they alternate?
Well, they're going every week right now, and then Trust Bank's going every other week.
there you go.
Well, maybe we can get Bill's daughter-in-law to sponsor one. Or Caleb probably needs more clients, doesn't he? Get up in the $1 million
I think
bracket.
he's got his hands full.
He runs an ad in the paper every week.
Baseball, yeah. Caleb runs an ad. Baseball.
Yeah, he helps.
He's a busy boy.
Well, if you ever need any financial help, just ask Bill.
Okay.
There you go, David.
Nice column. By the way, nice column this week. Very funny.
Well, thanks.
2 in a row.
Don't put the pressure on me, Mike.
You said you had trouble doing 2 in a row. Now try for the trifecta.
Yeah, that's the trouble. You kick out a decent one, then you think, oh, now I've set a standard.
I can't wait until next week for the hat trick. See if you can do it.
You can't, nobody gets a home run every time they swing the bat. So
Oh,
I know. They
shoot,
don't?
I thought we did.
I thought we had about 40.
You
of
and
them.
I.
Yeah.
What percentage we get
Well,
today?
he's talking about ordinary mortals.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forget.
Well, keep up the good writing, David.
All right, we'll see you next week on Remembering
Nick.
Tuscola.